Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the CCI on this kind of grey morning. I haven't been here for a while. I know. Where have I been? What have I been doing? Indeed, what? Sunning myself in the garden, usual sort of stuff. I wish. I hope you're all very, very well. It has been a funny old time these last couple of weeks, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, So, let's start the day with that positive message. The Twitter sphere has calmed down somewhat, a touch. But remember, as we always say, I feel like a sort of, it's my sermon of the day. Be kind. Breathe before you comment. I think that should be the hashtag of the day. Breathe before you comment. Find all the details out. We see so many reactions to headlines rather than actually reading the rest of the information. And I saw one particular person trying to scramble to catch up saying, guys, I didn't write this, to read the article. Breathe before you comment. Be kind. Now, I'm a little bit sort of wee today, so I hope that catches up. What have we got coming for you today? We've got another outstanding day, of course. We've got Luke Lloyd. He'll be here at 11:30 with his jazz dance technique. Oscar Toman's back with part 2, directing contemporary revivals. Jiggle Fitness is here at 3:30, and then Dynamic Postural with Gennaro King-Teller. So loads of regulars on today, so I hope that you will enjoy that coming up. We have our first coffee morning coming up now, which I will introduce them in a moment. But I want to tell you about something that we're doing. We're producing. Oh, I know. So through lockdown, we cast a show called Stay Awake Jake. And originally it was going to be a concert, and then lockdown happened, and then it was like going to be a bedroom album. But we then got together with Steve McGill, and we have produced an entire album of Tim Gilvin's awesome musical Stay Awake Jake, which is going to be released at the end of this month. And we're going to be doing performances from the Southwark Playhouse. So live stream performances of the piece in a concert version, which we're very excited about. And that will be on the 18th of December, on Friday the 18th. And then on the 19th of December, the Saturday will be a captioned one on the matinee. And they're live. And we'll be announcing our wonderful cast member. Yes, indeed. There's one cast member. Because it's a one-man show, hour and 10 minutes straight through. So it's awesome. We will be doing lots of promotion of that. So go to the southwarkplayhouse.co.uk, what's on, and find Stay Awake Jake and buy like 1,000 for it, please. Or at least let everybody else know about it. Yes, this is being produced through Pearson Theatre Productions. We've produced stuff in the past, not theatre actually. So go on our website and check out what we've been doing. And that's co-producing with McGill Productions, Stephen McGill, and in association with Grey Area Theatre and the Southwark Playhouse. So we're really excited. It's our first producing outing. So yeah, we're kind of like, ooh, about that. So an album and a show all through lockdown. Very all right, I think it's time to bring in our team from Sit in the Stall. Please welcome Claire, Learie and Reece Kerridge. How are you doing, guys?
Hi.
Now, for some reason, it's gone to a slight delay. I think that might be my end. So I'm going to, yes, just make sure everything is off the Wi-Fi. Yeah, everything is on the Wi-Fi apart from this. So tell us about you guys. I want to start by finding out about you as people, as performers, or whatever it is. Who are you? Let's start with Claire. Tell us all about you, Claire.
Cool. So I'm Claire. I'm a Gemini. I'm Claire. I am an actor, and I'm the co-host. Same.
I've got my copy there as well. Yeah.
Good. So I'm Claire. I'm an actor, and I'm also co-host. I'm sitting in the stalls with Reece Kerridge. So me and Reece have been friends for 5 years. We met on our first professional job since graduating. We did our house at the Union Theatre together. And we've not been able to get rid of each other basically since. And I've been very lucky to work both here in the UK and also abroad in Japan. Recently worked with CCI regular Grace Taylor on a new workshop, which is very exciting.
Grace is the director of Stay Awake Jake, which we are producing. So there we go. Yes.
Yeah, Grace may or may not be coming on our show to speak about that very thing, James.
Awesome. Good to hear. Now, is it a dirty rumour, but I hear that you went to the London School of Musical Theatre?
I did go to LSMT. I did.
I was the original alumni, first year.
Yeah.
I know. Amazing. I love LSMT. Actually, Reece went to go see their show. Was that last week? The graduate show?
Yeah, last
I couldn't go. I had an audition, so I sent Reece in my place because we wanted to chat to Adrian and stuff. But I did go train at LSMT, and I absolutely had the best year ever. It's hard though, isn't it? It's a challenging year. Really
I loved it. Oh, I could have done 10 of them. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Reece, tell us about you. Who are you? Where did you come from?
God, what's your name? Where'd you come from? Got a love bit silly. So my name is Reece. I am from Suffolk, little sleepy farmer town. And I went to Lane Theatre Arts for 3 years. Like Claire, we met on our first job together. That was our house at the Union Theatre. I then went on to do Book of Mormon at the Prince of Wales in London. I then did Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, the second film, Shrek UK tour as cover Farquaad, and I now, was rehearsing for Starlight Express out in Germany, covering Rusty. So fingers crossed we will be back very soon. But yeah.
Absolutely. God, how was that? So how far into it were you? How far were you?
We were a month into skate school. So, I mean, I got an ankle injury 2 weeks in, so I was then out for the rest of until we locked down. But literally the day we locked down was like the day I was going to come back and like be skating again. So,
oh wow! Yeah. No, I got into skate school when it was in town, when Starlight Express was in town in like 1850, and I was like, oh, I never really saw myself in the show. I thought, really, I don't know if I'm right for this, and I kept getting recalled. I was like, okay, this is interesting, and then got to skate school, and at skate school, I don't know what it was like when you. Did you go to skate school before you got the job, or did they bother with that anymore?
No, you just do the auditions. You basically go in and dance, then you sing, then you do material, you do like German phonetics, and then you go to the finals, and then then you basically they don't even know if you can skate.
Well, I mean, Michael. What's his last name? Not Michael Rand. Michael Michael Fraley. Yes. And he's taught every single Starlight cast ever. And so back in the day, they used to have skate school, and you'd go, and it was a week. But on day one, they would make you, and they'd buy you. You'd go, and you'd be kitted out, brand new skates, pads, everything. It was insane. It was absolutely incredible. And day one, you all line up. I made my best friends from skate school because we all went through it together. It is like therapy. You sort of line up, and you have to skate from one corner of the room to another and do everything you can. So if you're a street skater, he wants to see tricks, etc., etc. And like, I'd never been on roller skates in my life, and I walked like bent over, like walking, falling about, screaming at me, and I'm shouting. Like at everyone, everyone's like screaming. I was so nervous. I mean, I've got pads on. I was on, No, but by the end of day one, I was on one leg doing slaloms in and out of cones. I was like, this is mind blowing. But that's a credit to their teaching. I mean, it's incredible. But he would say, you're my best student, because you've never done it before. So I can teach you exactly how to skate properly. I've got to unteach these guys who've been street skating since they were like 10, Oh my God, it was the most exhausting week, and I loved it. And then I was like, I got to be in this show, and I didn't get it.
Oh, there's always time. There's always the German production.
Didn't get it. Yeah, old Papa, what's his name now? Me. So tell us about Sit in the Stalls. What is it? Where did it come from? Tell us all about it.
Go on,
Claire, do you want to say what it is, and I'll tell you how it came about?
Yeah, sure. So we are a theatre radio show. that started in lockdown, and we have tried to make it as interactive with our audience as possible. So we have Musical of the Week, which is voted for by viewers at home on our Instagram and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And we're quite good at aligning maybe two shows that are quite similar. For instance, this week is Carousel versus Oklahoma, so it's a legit week, which is very exciting. And we speak about the news, we have guests on, we talk a lot and just play around and talk about the industry. And obviously, it's a very strange time at the moment, and we are just trying to show our love and support for the industry that we are so passionate about.
Awesome. Yeah, really.
Yeah. It's really true. I think Claire's putting it very politely. We have so much fun when we do it. Like I don't think I've ever laughed so much on a project or a job that I've done. I mean, obviously you laugh all the time, but we just have such a blast. But basically the idea came about, I've always wanted to go into presenting. So like children's TV presenting has been a lifetime goal of mine, and it still is. And I've also been very intrigued by radio. I've been interviewed, when I was in the shows on like local radio stations back at home. And this opportunity came about on Facebook. A friend had shared something from UK Radio Network, which is the network that we come under the umbrella of. And they were looking for volunteer hosts and presenters. And I thought, oh, what have I got to lose? I'm not going anywhere. It's lockdown. I know that Starlight won't be back until at least next year. So I emailed, he's not really our boss, but we work very closely with Richie Ross, who's also the general manager at Peterborough New Theatre. And I said, I was very interested. I was a West End performer, did all the spiel that you do. And we'd spoken for about 2 hours on and off. And he was like, okay, come together with a 2-hour show proposal. Come back within 24 hours. Stuff you want to include. If you want to format it in a way you think will work, absolutely. So I was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, great, cool. Absolutely freaking out internally that I had 24 hours to do this. And Claire will vouch for me on this one. I'm very much like, an idea will pop into my head and I'll text her and I'll be like, I've had one of like Reece's crazy ideas, and it will be met with either dead silence, which means no, or okay, ... which means I'm listening. I rung her and said, I've just been, given the opportunity to do this show proposal on the radio, but I'm not doing it without you. And she was like, okay, ... And we just kind of spent the next, few hours putting something together. And within 24 hours, we'd gone back to Richie and he absolutely loved it and basically said, when could we start? And we started on the 3rd of August, which we tried to coincide with the theatres reopening on the 2nd. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But yeah, we started on the 3rd of August and it was.
And where is it? What's the format? Is it online? Is it on a podcast? Is it on where do people find it?
So you go, Clay. You go.
So technical things. So you can find us on the UK Radio Network website. However, we're on an app now, which is like dead fancy. We're on the Zeno app, which is a radio app, and you can just type in our show or UK Radio Network. But also, we also pushed for catch-up episodes because obviously radio is live, all that sort of stuff, and everyone's very busy people, especially performers. We're all over the place. So we also have catch-up episodes also on the UK Radio Network, which is great because a lot of my friends have been able to catch up, which is great as well.
That was a big thing for us on here, that we set it up in a way that people could catch up. We didn't know how many people will watch live or be available to watch classes and Q&As. We really wanted to be able to catch up, so that's why we had that stay on for a month, which seems to work quite well. It's great to have that, I think, for our industry specifically as well, because nobody has that sort of regime. Even when they're working, the most regime is you get to the theatre at the half or whenever you're supposed to be there, and then you finish and your regime is in there and the rest of it's just like whatever. And so it's, to have to make sure that our community is watching at those hours would be quite tricky, I'd imagine, definitely. So it's interesting, isn't it? Like doing this, I've caught the whole presenting bug as well. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy meeting people. I really enjoy interviewing, finding out stuff about people, challenging people, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting. So tell us, Reece, what is kind of the structure of your 2 hours? I know it's fun, but tell me about your average 2 hour structure of what goes on.
So of course, so we basically have 6 sections within a 2-hour show. So we split the show into an hour and an hour, which we call Act 1 and Act 2. Sorry, I just realised I'm like mirroring on my camera.
Yes, the other way around, yeah.
She's not a dancer. Act 1 and Act 2, and in section 1 we basically have a chat, we play a game with each other, which we just keep it fun, light-hearted, getting into it. We then play songs in between each section, so we normally have about 19 songs throughout 2 hours. All variations of songs, from legit to contemporary to new written theatre, to charity singles that have been released. Like, we just love spreading and supporting the love of you know, projects that are going on, and we are massive advocates of new musical theatre, and always have been since we both met. And then we have like musical of the week, which we said people can vote for on our social medias at Sit in the Stalls. And news of the week, keeping you up to date with what's going on. We pick out news headlines from PR people and press releases that we get. We normally do, like, Act 2 is normally like a bit of a chit chat about what's going on. So, like, obviously we spoke about the government and funding, arts funding quite a lot. We spoke about Halloween, like, the other week, and like funny ghost stories and theatres that people had experienced. Then we have like an interview with like our special guest of the week. You know, it's really short. We only get 10 minutes with our guest, which is not enough time for what we want. We want like to talk forever. And then we wrap everything up at the end with our final thoughts and just recap on the show and, you know, what we're going to do that week and if there's anything that we've got lined up. So, yeah, again, it's all really lighthearted. It's quite fresh. It's fun. And we just have an absolute blast when we do it. And there's lots of content. So come and listen to us.
Definitely. So, Claire, you were talking about Carousel. And what was the other show you mentioned?
Oklahoma this week.
Oklahoma. So what's quite kind of traditional shows, not very on trend at the moment. Carousel's probably is definitely in my top 3 of favourite musicals of all time, because it was the first for so much. You know, first, I think it was first Death, first ballet, but more so than that, it touches on child abuse, battery. You know, he beats his wife. You know, whole criminal aspect of it. And I think I've spoken about this quite a bit on CCI. What I love about it is that they fluffed it up basically into a clam bake, and lots of lovely costumes and all that, but told a very dark stories to imagine essentially what was the wealthier part of America that could go and watch these shows back when they were written, and you know, certainly wasn't for the working classes, and managed to really tell some very difficult subjects in, surrounded with some beautiful music. And I always wonder, when the audiences watched it, that very first show, whether or not they even realised what they were doing within that piece. So why those 2 musicals for this week?
Yeah, so every week we kind of have some sort of a theme. So we've had like Rock Week. I think we had like Rock of Ages versus We Will Rock You. We've had British Musical Theatre Week, Contemporary Musical Theatre Week, all that sort of stuff. This week just happens to be Legit Week. And me and Reece think it's important to show a variety of different musicals, because me and Reece have spoken about this a lot, but I get very offended when people say, oh, I don't like musicals. I go, what do you mean you don't like musicals? There are no 2 musicals that are the same. For instance, Carousel is very different to something like Follies, which is very different to We Will Rock You, and so on and so forth. And it's just about, you know, finding what your musical is, you know. And that's what we try and do with our show. We try and play as many different musicals as we can. We love having musical of the week, because then we actually speak about the plot. We also talk about, you know, awards it may have won, productions that maybe have stood out, and then whether or not we've seen it, because sometimes we've not had the pleasure of seeing the show that's won. We might have seen the show that have lost. I mean, me and Reece had the tragedy of both of our favourite shows not winning musical of the week. So we've already dedicated that we don't care what you viewers have decided on. We're going to play our favorites. So but like I said, we just want to play a variety of music, because some people do prefer your legit, you know, some people prefer contemporary, some people prefer your jukebox. It is just about finding what is your musical and speaks to your soul. And for me and Reece, it's actually quite different. We both quite like very different musicals, really. So again, it's just about playing things that make us happy as well.
Also, like through as you age, you know, you're going to change. Like, you know, there's if you don't like Queen, you're not going to like We'll Rock You.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Simple as that. If you don't like 80s rock, you're not going to like Rock of Ages. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter how many times you try and watch it, you're not going
Sure.
to like it because the music you won't like the music. And I agree. I totally agree that there's that thing of people go, "Oh no, I don't like musicals." You know, there are millions of musicals, millions of different styles. You know, it's utterly. It's actually embarrassing to even say that because that's like saying I don't like you know,
Films, music,
I hate water, you know. Well, it's ridiculous. It's just so embarrassing to kind of to say such a blanket statement. And I always say to people, "Oh, don't embarrass yourself. Why would you say that? Have you listened to every single musical? Have you watched every play? Have you watched every TV program?" The thing about it is, there's terrible stuff and there's great stuff, and it's simple as that, you know. It's a big thing for me is hierarchy within our industry that we've spoken a lot about on this, that I've hated ever since I graduated, in that musicals were also always shunned when I was graduating, end of 1995. You know, it was a subpar thing to even be involved in, unless the National Theatre did it, and then it was fun. Then you can have Bob Hoskins and people like that, and then it's okay. But other than that, it's just singing and dancing, and it's utterly embarrassing. And I think it's embarrassing for our industry that we do that. I think it's embarrassing that somebody would put down a soap acting over any other acting because it's very different. And then if you've tried to learn 60 pages in 24 hours, then you know, until you've done that, you have no idea what you're up against. It's absolutely, I think it's one of the highest forms of acting because it's so fast, and sometimes they get one take, no rehearsals. You know, all of that is it's. I just think there are rubbish soaps and there are amazing ones. There's rubbish Shakespeare and there's the reason that not all Shakespearean plays are done is because a lot of them are just utter rubbish. It's as simple as that. When did you see? I think it's John II. When was that done? There's so many Shakespearean plays, and all we get is Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, Much Ado About Nothing if they've got the budget, and blah, boring. But why don't they do them? Because a lot of them are utter rubbish. So you just stop it. That's what I always say. Stop making our industry. But I think the saddest thing, and I'm interested to hear your take on this, we'll come to Reece first, is why we do it to ourselves. Why do we look at our peers and say, "Oh God, are you doing that?" It's awful. We do it to ourselves. And I hope that after this tragedy, really, to our industry that's happened over these last 8 months, because it is a tragedy that, you know, that we have befalled, I hope that stops. And I hope that people really take hold. And I was chatting to a director through email yesterday and saying, I think the thing that's got me through this is our incredible community and how we have come together and how we have supported each other from the ground level. And I think what is spectacular, which is I think probably in our first or second session on the CCI, Rosie and I talked about a revolution within our industry, about it changing, about us. If you didn't like what it was before, you can change it. And we spoke about this all this month ago, and literally seeing that happen. People like yourself doing something you might have done, online presentations, more of these shows, people going out and doing concerts, new young producers coming out that we've never have seen before. So really exciting times to really sort of push the establishment, I think. How do you, Reece, what are your thoughts on this hierarchy in the way? Have you experienced it? I mean, you've done your CV is growing, but have you experienced that within you, like talking about children's presenting? That's you know, I remember, really, you want to do that? Yes, I want to do that. It's amazing. It's like, what a phenomenal job. Do you know what I mean? So have you experienced that? I'll come to you in a second.
I think it's a weird one because I think it stems back to the education system. In like when I was back at college, training. I mean, I'm very open about my training. I didn't have the best time at college. I really didn't. And I absolutely hated my 3 years at Lanes. I absolutely hated it. Because of that situation. There was favoritism. There was people that were completely overlooked in our college. But the people that ended up being overlooked were the people that have actually had the best CVs. And I think it's really important and a time for me to stand here and say, as long as you know what you want, go out and get it. Like, don't wait for it to happen. Don't sit there for it to happen. Make those opportunities. Like, Claire will vouch for me. I can't say too much because it hasn't been released yet, but I've literally just taken the biggest step personally and in my career that is just going to set me up for the future in what I want to do as alongside presenting. I do think there is a hierarchy, and I do think we're so quick to go to the negatives than we are to the positives. But I'm such a positive person, and that's why me and Claire get on so well, is we bounce off each other. If we don't like something, we just go, I don't like that. And then you go, okay, cool. That's how our friendship and our working relationship is. But I think so many people are quick to see the negative in things and never see the positive. And I think that's half of our issue. Like, somebody gets a job, like, your instant reaction is to go, oh, I didn't get that. But it shouldn't be. Like, I would go, oh my God, that's amazing. And in audition rooms, I'm really weird in that I know I can walk in a room and know if a job is for me or not. Like, when I walked in and I was in the Woman audition, I was like, oh my God, I've got this. Like, I just know that this is my job. And the same with Shrek. I knew from day one that I was like, this feels so right. I'm in the right place. But I've stood in other auditions, like, let's name a few, Be More Chill, Guys and Dolls in Sheffield. And I literally was like, no. This is a no. Straight, I can tell you now I'm going to get cut. You just know. But I would never stand there in that room and discredit anybody else. I'd go, oh my God, that was amazing. And I think that in auditions, I love auditions where you go in. I had a cruise audition for David Michael Productions, and everyone was just so supportive and like was just like cheering and screaming. I was like, this is so weird. I don't think I've ever had this in audition before, but it made me feel comfortable and me feel secure and do the best that I can do because the whole room was just together as one. And I think that's what we need more of, is we need more people to come together and tell people in an audition room, that was really good. Like, if I see somebody do something, I'm literally like in the Starlight audition, I remember just looking at everyone and I was like, I am not a commercial dancer in the slightest, and that's what you're looking for. And I was just going up to everybody and I was like, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. And everyone was like, you are. And I was like, white boys.
When I was looking at drama schools, and I wanted to go earlier than I had to because my life was utter shit when during that period when I was looking to finally go out and do what I wanted to do. I went sort of late-ish to drama school, but I looked at LSMT because it was A, I love musicals, but B, it taught you 3 disciplines, not just one. And so I thought that that was a good thing. However, others looked down on that, and that blew my mind that, yeah, but you can't sing. No, you can't dance. No, right, okay. So tell me about how that works again. So, because I can still act. So talk me through that. Talk me where what I... Oh, okay, no, you're just, basically what you are is you're jealous because you can't do those things. So the easiest thing is to put that entire industry down. Claire, have you come across hierarchical, that kind of feeling of like, you know, being made to not feel as great as someone that went somewhere else or did something else? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, prior to going to LSMT, I went to Bird College for 3 years. And like you were saying, LSMT is very 3 discipline based, you know, everything is given equal weight. Bird, not so much, is very dance heavy. And speaking about this hierarchy thing, I think it's something that is instilled for me from quite young. I was 15 when I auditioned for colleges, and you're told these are the good ones and these are the bad ones. You only audition for these ones, not these ones. And I think that unfortunately carries through to graduation and then thus auditioning. And yeah, there is unfortunately this, I also think it's this internalized hierarchy thing, because I don't think any of us actually think that. And this is something at Sit in the Stalls in particular, we've been trying to, you know, push through. So we have something called Sit in the Stores Live, where we do extended interviews with people and we speak to them about a specific industry. So we were lucky to have somebody come on and speak about cruise work. We've had musical directors, we've had producers, we've got many more in the pipeline. And it is just about saying that, yes, of course, the West End in London is, of course, something that is a goal and it should be achievable. But there is no problem in taking a panto in the middle of nowhere at Christmas. There is nothing wrong with going on a cruise, moving to a different country, you know, like I did in Japan. I had so many people tell me not to go. Reece was one of my only actor friends who told me to take that job. Only actor friends. And I met some of my best friends in the world. I went to Tokyo, I went to Kyoto, I went to Hiroshima, you know, and genuinely personal highlights of my life and also a professional one. But it's really sad because, like you say, I also have actors who are straight actors, as I call them. And there is that kind of like, oh, you do musical theatre? It's like, yeah, and what? I could do a pirouette into splits, sing, and also act. What about it? What about it? But you're totally right. And it's really sad because it's just not correct, is it? It's just not right. It's not right.
I want to bring on two actors, one who's trained and to do a Shakespearean monologue and then get them to sing Defying Gravity. And then I want to get a musical theatre to come on and sing Defying Gravity and do a Shakespearean monologue.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
yeah, we all know what happened there. But I know I'm sounding kind of like bullish and negative, but I'm not, because actually what it is, and I feel through this time, is that actually coming out of this and out of this dark period is that I'm hoping that everyone just sees that we're all not viable, apparently. And so it doesn't matter where you train, and it doesn't matter who you are or what your skills are. We are now all not viable. So it's time to make ourselves viable and to support each other and to make sure that all this rubbish and way of talking goes away and doesn't exist anymore. And I think there's, you know, Rosie and I always look at things very differently. We don't look into the darkness immediately. We look around it and try and find out, okay, this is horrible, and this hit us so hard. I mean, it was ridiculous to go to 0 in 24 hours of you know, when you're about to employ somebody full time. You know, it was dark. I mean, my gosh, but we have each other and we do try and look at things slightly differently. And I really hope that everything that we've wanted from this time, these dark times, that we do come out as one community, and that is something that we've been definitely driving through the CCI in everything. And I think it's been like the CCI has been a magnificent experience for us in meeting all these incredible directors and choreographers and actors and producers and casting directors and actually, you know, engaging in a new community, because casting directors don't meet each other. We all know about each other, but it can be a little bit of a vicious world of all trying to, you know, get work and stuff. But actually there's a really wonderful community out there, and you know, we're part of 2 associations. Coming at the positivity thing, we started casting in America, and it's a very open industry out there, and people talk about. And then when we came over here, it was very closed, and we were like, oh yeah, we forgot what it was like over here, you know, with our people. I also think something you said, Reece, that you touched upon. I think the truest friend is the one that pats you on the back and says, I am so happy for you, because anyone can be there to be a arm for you in a dark time when something bad has happened. Everyone comes out, but the true friend is the one that puts their arm around you and say, oh my God, I cannot believe this has happened for you. I could not be happier. And I think it's a great way of coming forward, you know, within this industry, right?
I think as well, I think that we make big decisions in our industry as well. Like a job isn't just like a normal 9-to-5 job, but even when you look at a 9-to-5 job, like, yes, it may be working behind a till, but then you get promoted up to like top managers and stuff. That's like us. Like, taking a job is a big deal. And I think Like when I first took Mormon, it was obviously going to be a yes because it was my first job. But at the time I'd been offered Shrek, I also got offered The Producers, which went to China. Now they're two of my all-time dream shows. Like anything comedy and character is my dream. So I was had these two amazing offers on the table, and I was like, now I'm torn. And then that's when it takes a good friend to go, well, write down the pros and cons, which is exactly what Claire and all of my nearest and dearest did. And then ultimately Shrek was the one because A, it was longer and it was more job security. But they are big decisions. Like one of my best friends from college, Chris Wilmot, he did a contract on Princess Cruises for like 17 months. He did the 6 months on.
Yes, I know.
Is the triple. And after that, he got back and he was like, is this actually what I want? And he really questioned whether he wanted to be in the industry. Now, Chris is like one of the most creative people ever. He's a drag queen. He does hair. He does makeup. And it wasn't until I actually sat him down and was like, what do you want? Like, where do you see yourself in like 5-10 years? And it then took, 2 weeks of convincing, but he then took the plunge and went and did a makeup and artistry course in, for hair and makeup in TV and film. And now he's worked non-stop since doing that. But it's having somebody there. And I always say, have a friendship circle around you. Have your nearest and dearest of like people you can count on like one hand or two hands that you can go to and that you can say, I need help. And that's in anything. It doesn't even have to be theatre. It could be like in mental health. It could be like in life. Like, I need your help to buy I'm torn between two pairs of shoes. Which one should I buy? Like life choices, first world problems. Claire gets all those messages. But she's laughing because she knows it's true. But I think, you have to have that group of people behind you that will support you no matter what you do. If you decide to say no, they'll go, okay, that's fine. We support you. Whether deep down inside, you don't know whether they do support you. They're your nearest and dearest. They're going to accept whatever choice you make. I think that's really, really important, especially at the moment. Like there's lots of big choices to be had in our industry with the lack of our industry. But we are coming back really slowly. It's really nice. We get the most amazing press releases come through and we're literally like, oh my God, theatre is coming back. Like slowly but surely, but we are coming back. So if I can just give one piece of advice, it's surround yourself with people that you absolutely trust wholeheartedly with your life, like this one.
Definitely. It's, the mental health aspect of it all as well. And touch on what you said, Claire, about working. And we do a lot of college tours and talks about, to graduates and so on and so forth. And the big thing for me is when you, for mental health, and it all ties into what we're talking about, is that actually the best, one of the best things for a performer for their mental health is to be working. And I think that taking away those kind of barriers within our industry, that when a casting director looks at a CV and they see cruises, that they go, wow, they've worked, not, oh, they've only done cruises. That, having done 13 cruise contracts as a performer myself, after doing tours and West End and European tours and TV and all of that kind of stuff, I went away to do one because I was like, London, and fell in love with it, saw the world and thought, I learned more there than I did in any other show that I've done, because I worked with Russians and Canadians, Ukrainians, Australians, Americans. I watched people do aerial, incredible dancers, acrobats, all this. That was my life for like 6.5 years. And it was incredible whilst seeing the entire world, which is amazing. And Rosie the same. And we come back, and when we look at a CV, our job is to know those cruises. So Princess, I know exactly what the vocalists and the dancers do. P&O Australia, I know the quality that you need to be a singer-dancer on there. Costa, I know exactly the style of dance. Job to know what all those are, not just a blanket it's wow, they haven't stopped working, not they've only done cruises. And that, I think, is part of what we want to drive and change as well within the industry, to directors and producers and casting directors, everyone, to look at a CV differently and go, wow, they're amazing, they've been working. Not, don't take that job, work in a job you don't want to do, increase your mental health issues, put pressure on yourself every single audition you go in that's unnecessary, etc., etc., etc. And it's just a different way of looking at it. Is that how you feel, Claire, when you you're talking about going abroad and all that kind of stuff? Is that are these the questions that you had with yourself before you went away?
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. An actor's mental health is usually at its peak when we're in a job, right? And then you finish a job, and I always call it the post-show blues. You have this horrible week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, of just, oh God, now what? Like, I'm never going to get a job again. My life's terrible. I've not got a job. And you go in this horrible, horrible place. And I can speak on behalf of myself and Reece. We felt like that in lockdown. Both of us did. Even though Reece knew he had a job to go to, so much of our self-worth, validation as actors is being in a job. And also what kind of job it is exactly what you've just touched upon as well. This kind of thing like, West End, Broadway's the 10 out of 10. Anything below that is 9, 8, 7, whatever it is, and the panto in whatever it is a 1, whatever. But my mum and dad and Reece's mum and dad always instilled with us. My mum always says, if you can put a roof over your head, you are successful as an actor.
Yeah.
And that's it. And, me and Reece have been very lucky to have really great jobs. I've got great muggle jobs, as we call it, working with, ex-performers who understand it. But mental health is something that I don't ever remember being spoken about when I was training. I don't remember it ever being spoken about when I just graduated. I don't remember that. I don't know if you did, Reece. But it's so nice to have this conversation, that people speak about it openly and honestly. And it is weird because in no other job do you finish your job and people just go, amazing. It's only our job, which is why we find such, validity in that. But again, me and Reece are people on the show. We speak about it privately, about our mental health, because it's something that is important, and you have to have people you can reach out to, whether that is friends or family or peers or colleagues or even directors, casting directors, whoever it is, And I think it's something that isn't spoken about as much as it needs to be, because if we are having a bad mental health day as an actor, do I think I could ring my agent and say, I can't go to that audition today? I don't know is the answer to that. And in an ideal world, the answer should be yes, that I could ring them up and be like, I can't go to my whatever auditions today because I'm not in a good mental health place. If I had a physical injury, you'd ring up bang on 10, wouldn't you? You're like, can't go in, I've hurt my ankle. But we're not quite there yet with mental health. And actually, as actors, I would argue that's the most important part of our well-being, actually, because so much of what we do is so emotionally vulnerable. Auditions, doing a show, it can be physically, mentally, emotionally exhausting depending on what the show is. And I do hope that we get there. And again, this is something me and Reece are really trying to not push, but just encourage within people, within themselves, because it is hard to have that conversation with yourself, isn't it? So,
get off social media.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It is one. It's not as simple as that, of course it's not, but it is definitely one of the main driving forces. And I do a whole talk about social media and mental health and how terrible it is for your mental health. And I post this question to students when you post something on TikTok or whatever platform, Instagram, and it gets 100 likes, and then you post basically the same picture, because that's what selfies are, and you get 10 likes. How do you feel? And people say, I delete it. I feel as though I'm not worthy. I think people don't like me. I think this, I think that. And the first time I posed that, I kind of came up with it, and I got those answers. I started to cry. The delete one was the worst. Like, I would delete myself. Of course, you're not going to be in a good mental health place if you're deleting yourself. But I relate it to walking into an audition. And I think that prior to auditions, I strongly just stay off social media for about 48 hours. Strongly believe this, because If you're stood outside, if you're there the morning of your audition and it's finals and you've been killing it and knocking it out the park and you're like, yes, this is the finals, and you go on to any social media platform and you see that picture with 10 likes and you delete yourself, you will not get the job. There's no way. If you start deleting yourself, there's no way that you can go in and win that job. There's no way, because you're deleting a part of who you are. It's ridiculous. And I think that, you know, social media plays a massive, probably the largest, I believe, part of social media, of mental health in our industry. I really strongly, because I do the same thing. I literally do scrolling, like, oh, they're working, they're doing this, oh, that production's up, why am we cast, oh, is this, are we doing enough, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can't do any more, but your mind starts drilling, and I feel the anxiety. I didn't suffer from anxiety until the beginning of last year. I didn't know what it was. Rosie had, other friends had, and like waking up with it. It wakes you up in the middle of the night. And I'm like, what is this? What is, I thought it was cats, my cat sitting on my chest. No, it was just, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible thing. But we have to, I think it's really important for actors to recognize what causes it, what is causing it. It's not the audition. The audition doesn't cause anxiety. The audition, of course, you get excited and anxious about getting the job, but I believe that it's everything else, because and I can relate it back to being before social media. I didn't have this anxiety. It didn't exist. And I know I can feel it come up as this thumb scrolls. I feel it coming up, and I really want actors to start paying attention to it, because I think it's really important for us as casting directors to make sure you guys are coming in doing the best job you can, because we need you, and we talk about that all the time. So yeah, so I think it's a really, does that relate to you guys? Do you feel that? Have you had that experience of watching all that grow within you as you go through, if you've suffered from it yourselves?
I mean, it's really difficult because I don't really use my own social media, if I'm being honest. It's nice to catch up with friends and stuff, but I already know what my friends are doing because I talk to them. So, you know what I mean? But with sit in the stalls every day, we're having to post stuff, but actually we don't check the likes. We don't check followers really. We just kind of do our job. We kind of, post the thing, share the love, and then we just kind of leave it. But no, I think it is definitely so. But the thing is, me and Reece have always grown up with social media. I mean, since I don't know, like MySpace, Bebo, back in the day.
Yeah.
Exactly, you know what I mean? That's really showing our age. But I think it's always been a part of our lives. But younger than us, even 2-3 years younger than us. That's Instagram, for instance, and Facebook has been a huge part of their life. But I have had instances where I've completely deleted my social medias and I've loved it. But it is nice also just to like catch up with people and see what they're doing. But you're completely right. If you see somebody who's posted a photo or a video or like a singing video, for instance, and you're an actor or whatever it is, or a dancer or whatever it is, and it's not got as many likes as you want on it, you go, oh God, that's it. I should quit. I'm obviously terrible. But actually, doesn't matter, does it? Like, it actually doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But that's just me. I don't know about Reece. I can't speak on behalf of Reece in terms of that.
I used to be quite a social media whore. I will admit that. I absolutely loved it. But since lockdown and opening, basically, I sat in Germany. I was in a studio apartment, like literally the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen was all in one room. It felt like prison. And it was absolutely horrible, and I cried every day because I just wanted to sit I used to go and sit in the toilet because it just used to be a separate room to where I was like living. And it wasn't until I was so bored that I messaged a very dear friend of ours, Esty Stimler, who's a lyricist and writer. And I was like, I'm bored, and she was like, write a song, and I literally laughed in her face down the phone. I was like, I would be absolutely terrible. It would literally be like the cat sat on the mat. And like ever since I basically then took to Instagram and I was like, guys, give me a theme to write. And somebody put about chicken nuggets, so I wrote a song about chicken nuggets just to like fuel me to keep going and keep busy. And then literally that door opened and the floodgates just opened. And ever since then I've had something to focus on, like writing and the radio and like other projects which are being released at the end of this year, my own projects. And, you know, I haven't had the time. But I think because I've kept myself busy during the day, we work really funny hours as performers. We work either a matinee during the week or, you know, a matinee at the weekends, and then Sunday is like our day to clean the house or whatever. So it was giving me something to do throughout the day where I'm never on my phone. And this is what this lockdown has given me, is allowed me to open a door that has never been opened, find a love for something that I absolutely love, which is creating and giving people an opportunity to show themselves. I'm trying so hard not to say what the project is, but I can't say what it is just yet.
I know.
It's so hard. But like just giving performers a platform that they would A, never normally have, or B, that casting directors, producers would never see them in a role. So I've given myself, you know, projects and stuff to do that's allowed me to do that. So I don't really go on social media anymore. Yes, I sit there and I double tap, and TikTok is the absolute demon. I sit there and I'm like on it for 3 hours scrolling, but I absolutely love a funny video. Claire will vouch for me here. She'll get all sorts of videos sent to her.
Yeah.
The funniest ones on my Instagram, but that's literally the only thing I go on and do is I just look at funny videos because it makes me happy.
TikTok is the weirdest.
Yeah.
What is that? Because you guys are young. What is it? What is all this? What are they doing?
What are they doing? What are they doing?
What is this dance thing that they you know?
Yeah.
And then they like fake laugh at the end of it. What are they doing? I don't understand. I downloaded it. I was like, what's this TikTok? Downloaded it one night, like I said, 3 or 4 hours of doing this thing going, oh my, and then just deleted it immediately. But then it shows up on like Instagram. Like, what are they, why are they, what, to explain it? Explain to me what they're doing, guys. Come on.
What are they doing, Reece?
Not the stupid funny videos, the dancing ones, that isn't anything. What are they doing? It's like, oh my God.
Well, they're clearly dancing, James. What are you talking about? That's clearly dancing. I don't know what kind of training that's clearly dancing.
This and casting need one.
No way. I'm this close to deleting all social media. I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. It's our business, you know, but just having to do all the accounts is like, oh my gosh.
I texted Claire last night, and it was I couldn't help laughing so much. But we use Canva for all of our like designs and logos.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And I get these text messages. And I got one last night, and it was, "How do you do this?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? How do you do that?" And she's like, "You got a video to play on there." And I'm like, "Yeah." So you go down to this bit, and then you click this, and then you go scroll down to this, you click that, and she's literally like, "I'll just leave it to you." But so basically, TikTok, people get a platform of either, I think it's 15, 30, or 60-second videos. Now, anything that comes up, I'll only watch 15-second video. Anything longer than that, I won't watch unless I'm like fully engrossed in it. But like I say, I only watch the funny ones. If it's not funny, I just scroll. Like I'm not.
There's that girl who's been cast in a movie, and she's like the biggest TikTok star.
Yeah.
And all she does is the same dance. And then sometimes her friends are in it. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes her mum's in it. Sometimes she's not. I don't understand how doing that same silly dance has made her so famous. It's blown my mind.
Yeah.
I think it's social media, isn't it? Is when you look at things like Bebo from years ago. Bebo was like the thing of its time. Then obviously like Facebook came in, then Twitter came in, then Instagram. There's always something new that's going to come in and turn over. It's a bit like Britain's Got Talent and X Factor, isn't it? You know, that whoever wins that year, you then never really hear of ever again in your life, especially Britain's Got Talent. Like, obviously, Susan Boyle's and is probably the most famous person really to come out of it. But who won last year? I couldn't even tell you who won last year, and I don't even watch the programme. But it's that thing of, yes, we've got TikTok now, but I guarantee you in like a year's time, something else will come along and those people will be completely forgotten. Like, that's the age of social media. But I'm going to sound like an absolute, excuse my French, arsehole now. But this is what really annoys me about our industry is I know that somebody now from TikTok will get a lead role in a musical because of how many followers they've got, because that will sell tickets. And that frustrates me. And I think it then ties back to the mental health thing as well of you know, we've trained all of our lives to get to that point, and somebody who's been made famous over like a 6-month period on TikTok just because they've got followers is going to get the job. And that for me is the downfall of social media. I love it because it's funny and like you get some amazing videos, but then you get these people, like you say with the film, she's done the same video over and over again, and now she's in a film, and she's picked the post to somebody who's trained for the whole of their lives. To me, it's not right.
So tell us about, it is crazy. It's a crazy world. Well, we love it, right? So tell us about this Sunday is when your show is on, that right?
Yes.
So
Sunday.
are you up against Elaine Page? Are you on the same time as Elaine? Are you?
No.
We
No.
overlap with Elaine, but by like half an hour, but yeah.
But again, that's why we have a catch-up episode. You can listen to Elaine, and then you come over and listen to us. It's pretty good, really. Yeah.
So tell us about this week. So it's Carousel in Oklahoma. Who do you have on? What can people look out for this week?
Oh, amazing. So we will announce Musical of the Week on the show, so no spoilers. We've not even announced our guests this week either, have we? We usually do that
we
later on in
normally
the
have
week.
guests on Fridays. We can do it.
Go on, do you want to do it then? Because you actually interviewed them. I didn't get to interview them.
So we were actually really excited for this one. It's somebody that we've followed for over a year now. Charlie Christensen, who is the hashtag Cheer Up Charlie, has released a charity single from Dear Evan Hansen, one of the songs from Dear Evan Hansen. And I got the pleasure of interviewing. Claire unfortunately couldn't make it. But yeah, Charlie's our interview this week, along with the music producers. And it's heartbreaking. Like, you know, from a young boy who was bullied as well, you know, gone through exactly the same situation. It was so lovely to chat to Charlie and you know, hear his story and how amazingly he's doing. He's now like an ambassador of the Diana Award, which was set up by Princess Diana, for young children to have a voice and voice their opinions. And I literally was in absolute awe. And he's only like 10 and 11. He's like 10 or 11 years old. He's so young. But yeah, we've got him this week, which is amazing.
Yeah, we also have an announcement happening later today, which is very exciting.
Yeah, on our social.
We have projects you might have seen. We've been doing a massive shout out for writers and lyricists and composers. We've got that happening later. Oh no, first thing next year, which is very exciting. But yeah, we'd love people to listen to our show because we do try and make it as positive as we can, but also informative about our industry, you know. And every week's different. You never know what we're going to come up with. We don't even know what we're going to come up with. Let's be real. No.
I love it. And is it going on? Is it just every week, or is it in like seasons? How does it work?
Every week. So we release a new episode every week. We obviously do pre-record because of COVID restrictions. But and obviously we can't be in the same room together. Obviously Claire lives in London and I live in Suffolk. So yeah, but we do a new episode every week. It's exactly the same format, just different things. The musical of the week will change. News of the week obviously changes. Our interview guest is always different. But it's 2 till 4 on UK Radio Network. If you go over to our socials, all the links in there can link you to all our socials, all the websites where you can catch up. And like Claire said, we're on Zeno, Zeno. If you download that and search for us on there.
Amazing. And when is Grace on, talking all about Stay Awake Jake, our album release, and our Southwark Playhouse live performances on the 18th and 19th of December?
Yes, she's coming on the last week of November, so we will be sure to tag everybody. Don't worry.
Fantastic.
Very excited.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here today. Thank you so much for coming on. We wish you every success with Sit in the School. Yeah, absolutely. So what are you doing with the rest of your day now?
Waiting for our announcement to come out.
2 p.m.
Where will this announcement come out? On Twitter, on Instagram?
What's on stage, 2 p.m. Yeah.
What's on stage, 2 p.m.
Yeah,
okay.
And then we'll release on our socials as well at 2 p.m. But what's on stage?
Fantastic.
I don't know if we're going to say that.
Really said it.
We've
said it now. It's fine. We've said it.
Brilliant. What's on stage, 2 p.m. Keep an eye on that. Yeah. Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to take you out of the live stream.
Bye.
So Reece, Thank you, Claire. Thank you. I'll be with you guys in a moment. Amazing to meet you both.
Bye.
Fabulous. That was Sit in the Stalls. Absolutely wonderful having them on. So go and find them on everything that they told you where to find them. Find them on social media, and they will be. You can go and listen to them on a Sunday, which is I think between 2 and 4. Is that right, guys? Give me the thumbs up. Between 2 and 4 on a Sunday. Yes, good stuff. They're in our green room. You see, I can see them. Wonderful. Thank you to those guys. Coming up next at 11:30 with Ashley Luke Lloyd. He'll be here for his jazz dance technique for an hour and a half. Thank you to Sit in the Stalls. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all in 30 minutes. Take care.